Hello everyone, this is CW here, back again with another video, and this time we are doing the Best of Death Battle 2025. As I said previous in the thing, I meant to do this last year, but with Windows 11 basically bugging out and ruining my Mega Clip video, especially on Ash vs. Yugi, I was forced to take a break for the rest of the year and basically try OBS Studio. I just got the new software and using it for this video. So hopefully this will be a test for future videos I will do, especially for Death Battle, as well as other predictions. So I hope it goes out and I had a lunch. But besides that, let's just get into it. So as you can see here, this is basically what I was originally going to do a surprise countdown, do on surprise, but at the end of the day, I decided to just give up on it and just do it right away on my list. So for this one, I will basically be explaining why I listed from the lowest of 12 to 1 based on 4 factors. My personal favorite and reasoning, the audience reception and how they viewed it, how the episode itself stands out from itself in the series, and as you can see, only from last year to season 25. So no Bowser for Eggman, as I consider season 2024 as a season. Oh, so let's just get into it with number 12, it was Kratos versus Ashura. Man, despite this being the Kickstarter and being second place for the tournament champions, this was sadly the worst. It was all the whole episodes were good episodes, but when it came to this one, especially it being like the first one, the first of the Kickstarter to confirm and having the best visual shot, which I will show. The marketing as well will show with Devil Artemis, which was good. Again, visual shot was good, and then this was probably one of the best ones. Again, sorry about the video. I did the browser for this one, so I'll still learn to it, but look at that. That visual shot just so good, and especially with the Kickstarter with Atras as Kratos' name, it just was done so well. But once again, it was a good episode in the animation, graphics, and pacing, but sadly, the execution is why it's the lowest of them all, because the fight definitely was the biggest problem, as as well as the writing. How it was executed was the greatest downfall, because you can tell from the season that there was a lot of lag that was put into the animation when they started fighting and all that you can see, as well as it being too dramatic, which was one of the most criticism of the episode, which I agree too, because when we saw the Kickstarter, especially for this first sample, we expected them fighting in Kratos' hometown. Well, the Midgard, that's it, in Midgard and all, and do with it. But for some reason, Azra, I don't even know if he did it in the game, but teleported Kratos instead to his turf and all, it with his daughter. It was just a confusing thing, and it had to be criticized. And the music was fine too, but again, sadly for Daryl Artemis, this was beginning of the end for his career, which is another disadvantage, because Devil Artemis is a good animator, but he is, because of this criticism being so much, it began his retirement of Death Battle. So he is supposed to work on an episode or two this year, but that's going to be his last. And as I said, overall, Kratos vs. Ashura was a good episode. Even got me replay the old school God of War games, but sadly, it just lacks everything else. With the criticism, we're very well deceived. So, but besides that, we move on to number 11, and this is where episodes get better, which was surprisingly Blade vs. Buffy. I'm not gonna lie, for this Halloween fight, I was not expecting another vampire matchup with Slayers, this time being Slayers for Halloween, and it was very good. I enjoyed the live action being brought back from Ismahawk. They did a good job, as well as the actresses and cameos that were done in it. And besides that, it does have its flaws, and there was a lot. This was originally supposed to be at number 10 or 9, but sadly, out of the three, I consider this the weakest because of Blade as Seagull. He has his moments. He was hit and miss, but Molly as Buffy, the actress, both of them did good performances. I did enjoy them, but it again, the music was forgettable. And Blade acting was again hit or miss, and sometimes it was hard because of it being a disco. Like like the lighting all does affect what with the camera movement did affect the what was being seen in the fight. For example, seeing the movement and fighting in the bathroom, for example. That's why I lowered it down to 11. But it was still a good episode. But it did have better impact and all. But I'll give it credit. They added her as a cameo. We'll get to you all will see later when I go in detail. But at number 10, this one was everyone can agree with, but I just went with in the end, or disagree, but I went with Master Chief versus Doom Guy, or Doom Slayer. So the rematch between Chief and Doom Guy. This one was supposed to be number 11, but I decided at the end of the day when we watching the episodes, I was a sucker and was pulled in and barely gave it the 10 spot because it did the both Marines did in deserve the spot. Devil Ornaments with the help to support of this SXR, another 3D animator that people enjoy watching from Leviathan videos, but they did so many cool shots in the fights that were more memorable both in killing and the fight. So, like, both of them killing demons was a surprise and was good. Cameos, which surprisingly one of them was Ghost Rider and Spawn. Spoilers ahead. But, and, oh man, the Halo 2 poster reference, as well as Doom Guy grabbing Chief on Invisible. And, again, the death was for Chief. Like, everyone knew Doom Guy was going to win because of how one-sided it was, but it was still good. And that could be the big criticism, is that they went too soft on why Chief was losing, but I do agree on the AI, but and I was shocked on speed being faster, especially with Chief apparently, well, I wouldn't say. Originally I thought that Chief would have speed, but since Doomslayer had fought demons that can bend time and space, like, that didn't matter at the end. And again, one-sided. Like, the power difference in weaponry that Doomslayer had was just too much. And again, best shot was Doom Guy running and grabbing his own rocket. That was to, like, throw it back at Chief. That was, like, so many cool things. And Caleb Buckland returning, voicing Katana, and the soundtrack, Halo Little Hell, I downloaded that song right away. I wish I did it sooner. But again, so much love as a Halo fan and like Doom, like so much love to the lore and all. I had to give it a 10 because like, and both besides its heavy criticisms, it's still warmed my heart as a fan that it just did both so right and was very creative in the fight. But, and we can't forget how to end. Yeah, can't forget that. But let's move on to number 9, which is, this one was tough to put. Like, the beginning parts were the hardest to put, but I decided to go with Dante versus Clyde. The man, my influence animator who inspired me to animate, Toru Ian Koffa, returns once again, who did the earlier Dante versus Bayonetta, like the OG 3D animations of DeathBattle during this time. He returned once again to animate this fight, and you can tell in this choreography and camera angles that he did good. good fight with good vocals from Javier and Martin to both voice Dante and Clive, making them both charming, and has the SSS rank when it comes to choreography. Devil Inside song was very good too, blending both series, being dramatic and heavy metal. The only controversial, I will admit, the only controversy is Dante not winning. I mean, I gotta admit, 80 or 90% of the people want Dante to win because, including myself, but I do, and not only that, it does have the same problem as Ben 10 for the Green Lantern, where the outcome was, where they as well as Dark Favors Obito, where the them explaining the reasoning of why the victor was not explained very good, especially with the endurance. I can see, I do think Clyde does have, over time thinking about it, does have it, could win this, especially with him having better endurance, with having willpower and all backing him up, while Dante performs demonic energy. But like the backlash was hit and miss, that it really brought into question of people actually researching and criticism. But besides that, it was still a good fight. But again, a lot of people wanted Dante to win, and besides it explaining better, it was still a good episode that featured Dante from Devil May Cry. Now let's go on to number 8. The Tournament of Champions winner, Tom the Cat versus Wile E. Coyote, from Looney Tunes versus Tom and Jerry. And this one was very, very good. It made me laugh. I think it has the best comedy point or screenshot of like the best comedic moment, or one of the best bios moments of the season, where like Wiz and Boomstick reacting to Tom and Jerry's Chinese mobile game that basically puts him on a universal level, which was funny. But again, it did not disappoint being a funny episode. And again, the gotcha game was the funniest gag of the season, and the fight itself, and 2D animated wise with some 3D background, it was very good too. A very creative death, as well as a fight that felt like the character Tom and Wiley, what they would do. Like, they really did a good job with the animation. The kill was definitely one of the best parts. I would say the music is forgettable, but again, both of these predators and their characters of determination to never give up on their prey made it worth number 8. So let's move on to number 7. Godzilla vs. Hulk. Now, this was definitely, I think this could be Devil Artemis' last animation of the season that he helped from David Fisher and Jets. And it was a good way to go. One word for it, smashing. As this episode was definitely much better than Kratos vs. Ashra, and especially having some of the best visuals. I would say the best visuals of the character bios, like some of the best, especially the quotes were probably the best new things added, where they quoted from the creators themselves of Hawk and Godzilla. But besides that, Monster Radiation. Oh, yeah, both of these Monsters of Radiation were the best fights, but with the 3D itself, it was very good. It does have its lag and all, but just seeing that this was a better written episode that was criticized for creator Ajra. The writing was much better in this and being more dramatic and like actually feeling like representation of like not Hulk and Godzilla but Banner itself, and them actually trying to find a way to like kill each other despite being immortal. And again, this was sadly controversial again because again, Godzilla losing. I was rooting for Godzilla too, but like I forgot about how Marvel characters are powerful, and the Madness of the Monster, the soundtrack was okay, forgettable. But again, the victor itself did make total sense as this fight was probably close to a tie. Had Godzilla not have his his like final form. I forgot the name of it, but like I do like the reasoning of the ending where it really decided on Banner, which was a good fight. And like visually, this fight was promoted very good. I had to watch it on my phone, text it when we were going to text it, but like the visuals of like the atomic bit. My favorite shot was the Hulk clapping the sky away and trying to get back to the ground. But like both of these were very well done, and I would do hope that Devil Almonds does return for future episodes. But it was a good standoff to the series, and yeah. So let's move on to number 52. As I would like to say. So number 52, I would named it. As you saw, I had it two number fives because at the end of the day, Miles Morales was versus Deku did originally I thought originally was the most controversial and was going to be originally the lowest, but like over time, it really deserved the number five shot slot when looking back at it. Because at the end of the day, this was probably the most was one of the most trending episodes of the series, especially reception wise. So let's start off with one of the reasons why. The having Moro again, like look at the for this being a 3D animated fight, they did a great job at it being visually wise. I was in like even though I overlooked it, I'm actually glad I reviewed it because this was like this was so good of animation wise because you can it felt like a blend of both like the characteristics were good and all with the quotes and all, but like what took the show is once again blending two visuals of like manga and comics so well. And this was probably my favorite shot of I gotta admit, probably one of the best shots of this series, and which I'll give Miles credit, it was very well shot. Because look at that, he's just zooming in. That was just the best part. The only criticism I have is this, which is Miles' death, because it was very confusing, because it looked like that he was, didn't look like that he would actually died from that. I think it would have been better if the scream was louder, or that, his, like, suit started to crack, and you see his eyes as he starts to explode, but it was still a good fight overall. And this was the part where most people realize where the winner was. But overall, what really took number five, tied with number five, was the aftermath. Basically, the memes. So there was basically a meme that someone traded that about the bully Deku because people with like it brought My Hero Academia popularity back, especially with Deku, because Deku, some people really hated the end of the manga run, so where they were memeing Deku working at a fast food restaurant worker, and this really brought him back into popularity, especially with the street tier fighters, him just hunting down street tiers, and this was one of them that started my notice why I died laughing of like Baki with him and Deku. But this was so going on so long, even in October when the Chainsaw movie out with Reze, and like people were deciding who will win between her and Bakugo, like the Street tier Deku was still being memed on. That's how impressive it was, and started from like picking fights with like Ruby Rose and Wood Girl and like any other Street tiers. Like it was fun and all. And this the memes itself was why it deserved number 5 because it brought Deku back into it. Like respected both characters overall, and the matchup makes sense as well. And most importantly, actually brought back it had an impact in breaking popularity back to a character that was hit or miss, especially at its lowest point in popularity. Even though that Miles Morales is Miles Morales. So back to number 5 again. Oh man, this after the disappointment of Azura versus Kratos, this was a great episode to like bounce back, especially being the only sprite animation of the series. Probably the best song out of the 3, which is like there were a lot of good songs. I would consider this number 1 or top 3 at best. It had some of the best great graphics, and again one of the most creative kills and results, outcome results of the season. I do agree with the reasoning behind the winner, it being Spawn and all, but man, what a like killer quotes and all, and references to like Soul Calibur and like Arch, uh, man, just crazy. But yeah, it did have its problem, especially with YouTube being YouTube again and censoring the Spawn cussing when he dragged both of them to hell. But again, the Death Battle arc, the Death Battle new main website can help make that up, and again, the Heaven and Hell Killer site ties it with 5, and definitely worth tying with Deku versus Miles as like the top 5. So let's move on to number 4 before we like pick the top 3. Get to the top 3 because those are gonna be heavy. But Shigaraki versus Mahito. Man, I'm not gonna lie, I did was up when it comes to like Moro's best fights. This was up there after Bowser vs. Eggman. This was the beginning after the controversial manga ending. This really brought back popularity to My Hero and getting the highlight that built up even up to Deku vs. Miles. But the research was very good visually, especially them going back to their villain stories. Definitely had its depth and destruction. It was very beautiful in matching the characters, especially with how their abilities counter each other. And my god, without a doubt, the best kill of the season with a killer quote. Like, it was definitely up there. The fact that this also got a green screen in the aftermath, like people were talking about it. And the beautiful thing is, despite I do have a flaw, it is the music. It didn't lack rhythm. It still held up. But the final factor is we literally got a new character in Death Battle. If you remember that girl from Blade vs. Buffy, which is apparently this businesswoman. She's apparently people saw her and were actually gooning or like attracted to her, that they were making fan art and all and were talking about it. And people were surprised about it, even the Morrow and the people who helped animate it. And apparently this character is officially a Death Battle Death Battle character now, as like if you guys go to the paid promotion of like Tom vs. Wiley, like she's literally was a limited time T-shirt you could have bought. You'll see the T-shirt, the Game Over one, and one of the commercials of Tom vs. Wiley. But it was still good. But the fact that this not only was a great episode for Moro, as well as brought back a new character that is actually interesting, and it's like the new Kenny probably. But like, yeah, Shigaraki vs Mahito still held up and like was worth one of the fights for the Kickstarter. Number three, there when it came to like picking the top three was definitely the easiest because like all three could have been number one. This was my personal favorite of the season, as it was a love letter to Monty Ohm, who like inspired Red Death Battle and made Ruby and Ruby Rose, but also it was a battle to Death Battle itself. But man, Ruby versus Manga, where to begin with? Let's start with the promotion of episode 200, because this was definitely well deserved. Promotion of like the return of Casey Jones, who voiced Ruby Rose, and Casey Lee Williams, who does the music for Ruby, joining the cast. It was almost a perfect episode with the backgrounds of Ruby and Maka trading roles. Like the animation itself was pretty good, whether it was the poster of them trying to hunt down Ruby Rose literally memeing her boyfriend as a weapon. Like it matched the character and it was very good. And then like Ruby Rose getting punched, like visually it was very good with tornado and all, getting punched, and then the rooftop section with the piano. Man, Death in Bloom is without a doubt my first reaction. One of the best songs this version, especially the audio version, which was added the next day or two after the fight, with that added the piano section only for it. It was so beautiful. It literally made me almost cry. Like no Death Battle music has done that, and like I was so excited for this fight that I even read the Soul Eater manga and rewatched Ruby. If you guys could tell in my video, my first sadly failed attempt of making a prediction video where the audio got ruined, but I still enjoy my time reading it because like this made me hyped for this episode. And then like ending with Ruby's creative death with like the moon and the thing, it was just done so well. Like so beautiful. So beautiful. And what's cool about it is that at the end, both of them are canon. Like Ruby survives and all. It's officially did from like the animators and all. Death Battle themselves confirmed that both of them are buddies now, which is a rare W. The only criticism I have, and again, the characters' backgrounds were good, Ruby and Maka's. The only criticism I had is the ending, with like quit in Volume 9 and said she got over her depression, even though she basically committed suicide because of Neo. Like that is not something that you get over. But besides the criticisms and all, like this was still questionable, and like Ruby's side being rushed. Like Jets, Ornaments, and Fisher, like all the animators and like people who made the fight, man, added to the portfolio of closing another masterful Death Battle fight that affected the soul and aura of like me. So let's move. But with all things said, it still was number 3, as 2 were just too perfect to do. Man, Kyle versus Simo. This was again a perfect fight. Like, and if Death Battle really had perfect episodes, and this earned it as one of them. So let's just move in, as like this fight was just so beautiful. Of like not only piercing the heavens, they perfect the episode itself. Pacing was good. Animators combining once again both genres of like comic and anime and manga. It was just colorful, the lore and references, and that ending man, just so much love that brought so much love as we see so much love. And then, like, the official promo for it and, like, the ending part, which is so good. So this one was just so good. The fist fight of them punching each other and like the ending. Some of the probably the best ending of the series. I was able to get a gift to work on this, but yeah, I do prefer Wheel of the Drill over Spiral of Emotions, but even the song was perfect in matching the characters overall and like how they grown up as characters. Like the song itself is like a character development, and I gotta admit that was good. And overall, like I said, there was nothing else to add to it because like this was a perfect episode in every way, if not for one. When it came down to number one, it was a tough call. But at the end of the day, this fight once again almost made me cry. And what a season finale to end 2025. Even though it wasn't the 200th slot that it was supposed to be, it's that took Ruby versus Maka took over. This was still beautiful of how the heart of the cards caught them all. Everything was emotional in detail, from boomsticks, cheerleading, Ash and Yugi to the creative marketing uh, in both Twitter and the Death Battle promos of like 90s anime while also referencing the games and all, like making small animations. I wish they kept those. But like the story of Ash and Yugi was entertaining, the visuals were amazing. Like, look at the start, like literally Dark Magician fighting Pikachu just to start the fight. Like that was so creative in like the style of the series and all. But man, it hit hard, especially the shots and all. The twists and turns that both like that kept going and going. That brought back one word: perfection. Like like passion was brought like from every angle shot to like the music itself, and especially the ending and finale and the reason, the comeback and all. But it was just so beautiful, and it really brought back, and it earned the number one spot because like even though that people nitpick here and there, like everyone agreed with the outcome and just loved the episode itself. Even for the past week, I actually started watching, spent the next few days after the episode came out watching nonstop reactions, seeing how other fans and all thought of the episode. And yeah, and saw what will come up next season and all for like some their thoughts and all. And bonus point icing on top, the soundtrack Millennium Monster and getting the singer who sang the first Pokemon song was like the final, well, heart on top to make this number one. Just so much love brought to it, to this season as a whole. And like this was a good way to end it. So, and this is overall the ending in conclusion to my season of why the list. Like this was a good or a great season overall. All of them were good top ones. Some, despite some of them low, there was definitely effort and passion put into each episode, from the motion graphics to even the sound editing. Like everything went out perfect. So without further ado, this is probably going to be the end of my episode. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you enjoy next time. And yeah, as you guys probably know, Ichigo is going to fight Yu Yu Hakusho Yusuke, I believe his name is, but uh, as the season premiere for 2026. So I'm definitely going to work on that. Hopefully get it done this weekend, or like hopefully this weekend at best. So thank you all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Give you a like, comment, criticism, and especially what you think about this new format of recording. I'm using OBS, so I'm hoping that, and I got DaVinci Resolver, so I can make some quick edits here and there to make it more pop out. So thank you all so much for watching. I hope you enjoy. Stay awesome.